Hello, this is Joe Pearson, the project planner for this application. This is the presentation for the 2420 Oxnard Boulevard U-Haul project filed by the property owner U-Haul. The original project was scheduled for the April 13, 2023 City Council meeting. At that meeting, staff's recommendation was to deny the application. As a result of staff's recommendation, the applicant team opted to pull the item from the agenda to make modifications to the project to address concerns raised by the staff, planning commission, and the public. The applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow for the proposed uses and allow the renovation and conversion of an existing approximately 52,000 square foot, one-story building into a self-storage space, which will also include a U-Box storage warehouse of approximately 34,000 square feet and approximately 3,000 square feet of additional retail space, along with a parking area and enclosed storage on the north end of the lot. The retail use is allowed by right in the general commercial or C2 zone. Mini warehouse or self-storage warehouse and truck and equipment rentals are not allowed uses within the C2 zone. The previous project request included recreational vehicle storage or RV storage, which is also not allowed in the C2 zone. This use is no longer included in the project description. The applicant is requesting that the remaining uses be allowed in accordance with Oxnard City Code Section 16-135, which states that no other uses shall be permitted in the C2 zone without the approval of the City Council. Pursuant to this section, the City Council can allow for uses not currently listed as permitted. However, pursuant to the code, each use must be consistent with the intent of the C2 zoning designation and commercial general land use designation. Should the City Council determine that one or more of these uses are not appropriate in the zoning or land use designation, the project must be revised to remove that component of the project, as it is not a currently permissible use under the current zoning. Noticing was provided for this project. A CEQA notice was published in the newspaper and mailed out to all interested parties. The November 17th, 2022, January 5th, 2023, and February 2nd, 2023 Planning Commission meetings, which included publication in the newspaper, on-site posting, and a mailed notice. For this City Council hearing, again, an on-site posting was done, and it was published in the newspaper and mailed out to property owners within 300 feet. As seen in the northbound streetscape view along Oxnard Boulevard at the south end of the site is the existing U-Haul retail center and rental space. And the view from the southbound Oxnard Boulevard shows the existing vacant parking lot, which will be converted into the truck and equipment storage area. The project site is located at 2420 North Oxnard Boulevard, situated towards the north end of the city, and consists of an existing vacant warehouse, with the exception of an approximately 2,000 square foot U-Haul retail center, which is approved under separate minor modification permit. As seen from the aerial view, the project site is surrounded by the Southern Pacific Railroad on the north and east side, which separate the project from the adjacent commercial land uses. To the south is a mixed commercial and auto repair use. And to the west is the residential neighborhood and apartment homes. The subject site has a general plan land use designation of commercial general and a and is located within the General Commercial Plan Development, or C2PD, zoning district. Then freestanding commercial uses along arterials, which also include office, residential uses up to 18 dwelling units per acre, live, work, live, and mixed uses. In accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, an environmental consultant under the supervision of planning division staff prepared a mitigated negative declaration. The draft M&D identified 3 areas: biological resources, air quality, and cultural resources, where the impacts are determined to be less than significant with mitigation incorporated. The final M&D includes a mitigation monitoring and reporting program with the inclusion of the mitigations for the areas noted above. The project, including the revisions that were made following the April 13th City Council meeting, will not have a significant effect on the environment. Therefore, a mitigated negative declaration was prepared with mitigation measures and a monitoring program in accordance with the provisions of CEQA. Prior to the first Planning Commission meeting, the Community Development Director in 2019 indicated to the applicant team that staff was not likely to support the use, which had continued to change since their 2017 submittal. In 2020, after additional meetings between the applicant team and city staff indicated that we would not provide a recommendation to the Planning Commission on the proposed project. In accordance with this, city staff did not provide a recommendation to the Planning Commission, though staff continued to have concerns regarding the proposed project as it relates to consistency with the general plan and zoning. However, as with any application, staff continued to work with the applicant to improve the project to the extent feasible in the event the project did move forward. At the November Planning Commission meeting, discussion ensued regarding the appropriateness of the proposed use, traffic, solar requirements, and potential alternative uses. The commission requested additional clarification on the sales and property tax generation numbers provided by the applicant and direction on possible solar requirements, and continued the item to December 15, 2022. At the December 15th meeting, the item was continued again to the January 5th, 2023 meeting to allow more time to gather information. On January 5th, 2023, the Planning Commission received and reviewed all of the requested additional information from the project applicant and staff. The Planning Commission considered the project, and following commission deliberations, a motion of intent to recommend approval of the project was made. On February 2nd, 2023, the commission voted 5-1 with one commissioner absent to adopt a resolution recommending approval of the special use permit to City Council. Prior to the hearing and during the Planning Commission meeting, the primary concerns raised were related to appropriateness of the uses proposed and impact on the view corridors. For these reasons, along with other issues related to the lack of compliance of U-Haul's existing operations at the April 13th, 2023 City Council meeting, staff's recommendation was to deny the application. As previously noted, this resulted in the applicant team opting to pull the item from the agenda to allow more time to work with city staff to address the city's concerns. While the commission ultimately voted to recommend approval of the project to the City Council, concerns were raised by commissioners and members of the public regarding the compatibility of the proposed uses with the C2 zone and CG land use designation. With the exception of the proposed retail use, each of the applicant's requested uses are currently only permissible in the city's industrial zones, as they are consistent with the intent of those zones and other uses found there. Therefore, in consideration of this project, the city must Consider the appropriateness of each of the proposed uses as they relate to the intent of the C2 zone and CG land use designation. Again, the commercial general land use designation allows retail centers and freestanding commercial uses along arterials. And the intent of the C2 zone is primarily to allow for retailing, office, and service-related uses, as well as residential. Since the April 13, 2023 City Council meeting, the applicant has been working with city staff to address the compliance issues with their existing operations and modify their proposal to address city's concerns, including concerns raised by some of the planning commissioners and public comments regarding the view corridors and uses proposed. As a result of these efforts, there have been 3 primary changes to the applicant's proposal since the last time it was presented to the City Council. These changes are summarized in the following slides, but generally include improved architecture and landscaping, improved screening of the truck and equipment rentals, as well as the elimination of the RV storage. As with the original project, the existing building will remain and will be refaced with an improved facade. In coordination between city staff and the applicant's architecture team, the facade has been further improved with the addition of vertical ribbed panel elements to help break up the massing and roofline of the building. Within the single-story portion of the building, additional window features with a matching awning have been incorporated to provide a more commercial-like appearance. While the level improvements are unlimited due to the fact that the building is existing, the incorporated improvements help minimize the industrial nature of the building. The facade improvements have been made in conjunction with improved landscaping, particularly along Oxnard Boulevard. Directly in front of the building, between the building facade and Oxnard Boulevard, landscaping has been increased from approximately 10 feet in depth to over 30 feet in depth at the northern portion of the building, where the screening is most needed. Due to the location of the existing building and need for fire access, only a minimal amount of landscaping could be incorporated along the frontage of the southern portion of the building. However, with the added windows and awning, this portion of the building has a less industrial appearance and therefore is more compatible with the surrounding area. The southern section of the site consists of the existing warehouse building and additional parking lot and U-Haul retail center. Along Oxnard Boulevard, additional exterior truck loading spaces and customer loading is provided. The site also has 2 access points from Oxnard Boulevard via an existing driveway at the south end of the site and a driveway towards the north end of the site, which will be improved with a new traffic signal as a part of this project. At the northern portion of the project site, landscaping has also been increased to over 30 feet in depth with the relocation of the parking areas and pushing back of the screen wall. In addition to the new landscaping, the project has been conditioned to remove the existing trees at the top of the concrete walls within the right-of-way and replace them with more appropriate landscaping where feasible. Any replacement trees or other landscaping would be appropriately set back from the walls to avoid further damage to the walls. The proposed RV storage was removed from the proposed request. As a result of the removal of the truck, the truck and equipment storage area was able to be relocated to the northern portion of the site. This allowed for the storage area to be adequately screened behind a solid wall so that it was no longer visible from Oxnard Boulevard. For context, shown on this slide is the existing U-Haul location on Saviors Road in Oxnard. As shown, the site is covered with rental equipment and boxes placed for advertisement. While this may be appropriate for industrial areas, this is not consistent with the intent of the general plan. which calls for the project site to function as a scenic entry corridor to the city. As a result, the proposed fence screen, shown as the prior proposal, has been upgraded to a screen wall designed to mimic the existing building with the proposed facade improvements. This change was made to address concerns regarding the visual impact of the project on Oxnard Boulevard, which is, as previously noted, designated a scenic corridor. As previously mentioned, concerns were raised by the commissioners and members of the public regarding the view corridor and the impact of the visibility of the proposed uses, in particular, the proposed outdoor storage of the rental trucks and equipment. While some fencing was originally proposed, as shown in the prior slide, the outdoor storage areas were going to be visible from Oxnard Boulevard, which again functions as one of the primary entrance points to the city. However, with the proposed improved screening, including the screening wall and significant landscaping, the truck and equipment storage will be completely screened from view, as shown in the rendering at the bottom of the screen. As it relates to the mini warehouses or self-storage, in 1975, the City Council passed a resolution 6,446, which established development standards for mini warehouses, stated that these uses may locate in the CM, M1, and M1 zones. Further, in 2009, the City Council passed an ordinance 2807, which removed mini warehouses as permitted use from the C2 zone. As presented in the staff report at that time, the city determined that the general allowance of self-storage facilities was not consistent with the vision of the city. This change was processed as a cleanup action to make the Oxnard City Code language consistent with the mini warehouse policies adopted by City Council in 1975 and the general plan. Allowing for the redevelopment of the project site is anticipated to generate additional revenue that would be directly added to the city's general fund. However, how much revenue is unknown, and the estimates provided by the applicant or previously provided by the applicant have not been substantiated. In summary, at this public hearing, staff recommends that the City Council conduct a public hearing and adopt a resolution adopting a mitigated negative declaration, 2204, and mitigation monitoring reporting program, and adopt a resolution approving planning and zoning permit 17-500-11, or special use permit, based on the findings presented and attached conditions of approval.